Would the Pelicans benefit more from a floor spacer or a rim protecting big? I got two people, me and him. Tell you which one it is.
You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to another episode of In Space. I am your host, Chris Connor. Shout out to not the Marcus Cousins. I don't know why he was smiling, but that's Lito. You know me, I'm Chris. Like, comment, subscribe, as always. Shout out to the people that support us here. DraftKings Sportsbook, you will hear from them in the middle of the show. Jägermeister, Birdsall Law Firm, and whoever else is a part of the team that I don't know about just yet, but I will keep y'all in tune and informed. Lito, how you feeling, dog?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I got my dog Frankenstein right here. You know what I'm saying? We kicking it. I don't know when it's dropping, but I gotta get this out the way because I gotta clip this up and send it to her. Happy birthday to my baby. Her first birthday is crazy. If you watching this on the 24th, you know what I'm saying? Happy birthday, my Stelly. That's all I got, man.
Happy G Day to Big Stale.
Yeah.
Standing on business,
Yeah.
stepping on people. You know what I'm saying? You know, she gonna be 6'4", 6'5". She just practicing really what her destiny is, and that's really the bully. That's the aggressive side that she got from her father. To go
That's
with
crazy.
the composure and the faces, the what do they call it? The disposition of her mother. I think I might have messed that up, or I might
That's
have got
crazy.
it right, but I knew what I meant.
That's crazy that you don't think she a bully. But I mean, I guess, man.
Nah. I think it's the other way around. But that's neither here nor there. This is a basketball show.
Real.
This is what we talking about. I don't know what show's coming out first. So either A, y'all saw the show that we did on Lito's platform about Herb Jones being untradeable, or is he untradeable? Or that show's coming out. So if you haven't seen it already and it's out, go look at it. If you haven't seen it and it's not out, stay tuned for it. Today, we talking, should the Pelicans target rim protector or floor spacer, the center position specifically. By now, you guys have all seen the reports about the Pelicans being active in the trade market. Once again, some familiar names and maybe some that aren't. The name, of course, that has jumped at the top of the list for most people is Jared Allen. There's also some names, some talk about Wendell Carter Jr. And then there's also Onyeka Okongwu in Atlanta. And I think this conversation is a good one, and it's an interesting one to have because I think a lot of people have the dream to get both in one, and that's just not. It's just not simple. It's almost impossible. The teams that have them more likely aren't actually looking to trade them. Guys that can protect the rim and can space the floor at a high level. It's just not something that you can really find consistently. You can't necessarily just pick up on the free agent market. So there's also the thought of maybe could you possibly get one or the other or get both separately, you know? I find that to be unlikely, specifically if we're talking at the front court status or area. So I am putting all my eggs on one basket here. I think there's gonna have to be one player. We're gonna have to pick a side. So me and Lito gonna talk basketball. So I'm gonna start with asking you the question directly, Lito. What do you think is more important? What do you think that the team should target more, a rim protector or a floor spacing big?
A floor spacing big.
Why?
I think with who you have on your team, you got two guys that your star players I'm talking about, they kind of operate in the same spot. While Brandon not as deep in the paint as Zion, he still has 2 or 3 feet or 2 or 3 steps inside the 3 point line, while Zion is primarily operating foul line extended on down. Um,
Mm,
when he's not, in the corner, I think if you
yeah.
had a guy who could shoot the ball at a reasonably high clip, that I'm saying reasonably high, moderately high, that teams would respect, because all you really need is the respect. You just need to see one go in, and then teams are like, nah, we just can't leave them open. So you want other players to rotate to them. So if you could get that, I think that'll help you a lot. Brandon mainly is a mid range jump shooter, and I'm not knocking that shot. I'm just saying that where he operates, more guys are, because you have Brandon, his man, JV, his man, and then Zion and his man. So it's technically 3 defenders there, and then whoever's in the wing, they're probably going to rotate to Brandon if it's not Trey or Jordan Hawkins in the game.
Mm.
So you kind of got 4 guys on you if you operating in that mid range to post area. With the spacer on the floor, you can't necessarily do that. It's more space for everybody. And then Zion has a runway. Brandon has the ability to shoot it wherever he wants to and not see multiple bodies coming at him. So I'm saying spacer.
What about those that say Jonas Valanciunas is a solid 3-point shooter? We've seen him, he's shooting close to 37% now,
Yeah.
close to 2 attempts. It's not a high volume, but what about those that say Jonas is a floor spacer?
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah,
I
because
don't dis-
somebody's going to say that.
I don't disagree with you. I
Mm,
listen. I don't disagree with you. I think Jonas is a floor spacer, and I do believe that he's probably playing some of the best basketball of his professional career at this point. And and not only that, I believe that the fit, whether people want to believe it or not, I think Jonas's fit is underrated with the team, because while he is, I'm gonna call him clunky because of how he plays basketball. He a big, you know what I'm saying? Like he's traditional big, but he's so skilled to where even though he spends the majority of his time in the paint, he's not in the way. Like he don't be in the
yes.
way. You know what I'm saying? He still can operate in multiple spaces. He can operate in the paint. He operates top of the key. You see him in the corner. You see him free throw line extended. If you give him uh, enough space, he'll pump fake and then drive the ball on centers. Like I think Jonas's fit on this team is underrated, and I think it's going to be tough to replace with one person, like you said. And the other thing too is, right? You talk about a floor spacer, but how about this? He defending the rim, so you got a floor spacer and a rim deterrent in the same person right now.
So here's my retort to that. I think Jonas's rim protecting effort and the execution on that has been the best that it's been in New Orleans in regards to him. But he's still his lack of athleticism and his natural gifts do consistently get in the way, and they do plunge the, I guess, complete defensive creativity that you can have when some of your sets when he's in the game. And then offensively, it's odd because we're talking about a dude that's really the fourth option, but he has the game that's higher than, it probably constitutes you to give him the ball more than you would give him an average fourth option, but they don't do it consistently. So it's difficult there. And with guys like Jonas, dudes that have the skill sets that he have, but most big men, when they don't get the ball, they don't give you the full efforts that you would like to see, rebounding, blocking shots, doing the dirty work. No matter what, Jonas, as good as he's a skillful big who can do a bunch of different things offensively and in pinches, can protect the rim, is a hell of a rebounder, but he's not a dirty work big. He's not a glass cleaning big. He's not a rim protecting big. He's not simply a dude that lives and makes his money floor spacing. So I think it's difficult for, when you say, when you speak about replacing him, Jonas may have to be an addition by subtraction kind of situation. Because you'll never get what you should get out of Jonas unless someone's hurt. And then when everyone's healthy, there's a downside to having him out there because he's not going to be consistently looked at. And then he has his disadvantages defensively as well, which is why, to me, you're talking about maybe not an upgrade, but similar to what we're talking about, if you were to trade Herb Jones, just a different style of player that maybe fits what you think may maximize the current group that you're running out there, the other four that's going to be on the floor.
So look, I agree with what you said. I think the thing that has to be understood is this. Jonas, I don't particularly want to trade him. The game is the game. Right now is probably the best time to trade him. Simply for two reasons. The production that he's giving you, he would go to a championship contending team and he would fit right in because he would.
Lito,
yo,
before you finish that point, here's also something to remember when talking about Jonas.
Nothing but love and respect coming from this way. First things first, I want to ask this to Trey, only because I ain't gonna lie, CJ and Larry, man, like y'all kind of old. Like y'all ain't old in the regular world, but you know the NBA age niggas like dogs and shit. So I need a young nigga opinion on this.
I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go. Jonas is very valuable right now because of production. He's also very, very valuable because of the contract. Contract is expiring. He is what teams want. You want to trade expiring contracts, or teams want to trade for expiring contracts because that money is coming off the books. I do think Jonas is going to go to a contending team and maybe not have a very large role, but he's going to play. He's going to play his minutes and he's going to win his matchups because that's what he do.
So let's talk about some of the options if they are truthful. Schmidt, I believe, was the first to tell me or to talk to me about these three guys privately, but then Christian Clark dropped a really good article about the Pelicans, and it's titled "Now that the Pelicans have ducked tax, what will they do at center?" Because that's really what this conversation is about. When we're talking about upgrades and the limited ways that the team can upgrade them going forward if they're not going to trade certain high-paid or other high-paid players on the team, there's really only one way, in my opinion, that they can realistically upgrade them, in a center position.
Yeah.
So Christian writes, he says, Jonas Valanciunas is having another solid season. The 31-year-old is a double-double machine who would rather cut off a digit than miss a game. But Valanciunas is on an expiring contract. If the Pelicans do make a move at center, they are likely to target a player who is younger and more mobile on defense than Valanciunas. Pelicans were reportedly interested in Cleveland Cavaliers big man Jared Allen in the summer. Allen is a name to watch ahead of February 8th if the Pelicans decide to move him. Allen is a rim-running center who has been the anchor of Cleveland's third-rate defense this season. Formula of Donovan Mitchell and Allen. Shooting has allowed the Cavaliers to thrive while Darius Garland and Evan Mobley has been hurt. Allen's averaging during this stretch of the Cavs winning 8 out of the last 10. He's averaging 19, almost 15 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists, and a block per game. We have also, if the Pelicans want to take a look at a cheaper option, Orlando Magic are reportedly making Wendell Carter Jr. available. Carter can be a stout defender. He's also shown impressive flashes as a passer, and he can hit an occasional three. He does a lot of things well, but it's not great at any skill. He's owed $12 million next season and $10.9 the season after that. And then lastly, the Atlanta Hawks backup Onyeka Okongwu is one other name to watch. Pelicans had interest in Okongwu dating back to the 2020 draft when the Atlanta Hawks took him number 6. He has yet to take the starting center job from Clint Capella and is unproven anything more than a backup role. Okongwu is a guy I would say fits today's. Like, he reminds me of maybe a poor man's Bam, and what he could in his overall skills, his frame, and what his game could translate to down the line. I think he's also a really solid defender, but has been in that backup role for a little bit. But those are the names so far. And I'm sure that there are other names that haven't been talked about yet that will be as the trade deadline approaches. But that's a real big. But I think that's why I framed this show rim protector or floor spacer. Jarrett Allen, he's not going to be on any defensive player of the year radars, but his size and his wingspan alone, his athleticism, makes him somewhat of. He's more of a rim protector and a rim deterrent than I would say Jonas is, just because he's a tad bit athletic, longer, and we've seen him get in the way of it. He's fantastic at contesting at the rim, even if it doesn't always end up at blocks. He would be one of your more traditional bulky presences, guy who can catch the ball at the rim, really good rebounder. Lito, I want to start with that kind of individual. Give me 2 pluses and 2 negatives to replacing Jonas with basically an individual that does. You don't have much of a drop off in, say, the rebounding department or the size department, and your your players that aren't really good rebounders don't. They still have that security or that seatbelt, that security blanket, will be a Jarrett Allen. He's also he's improved as a mid-range shooter, more athletic, more of a stronger finisher than Jonas is at the rim, and is also really good. He's a solid free throw shooter for his size. What are a couple pluses and negatives to going that route in a way? Again, I should also point out that Jarrett isn't probably one of the biggest differences is that he isn't a traditional post-up center that you would throw the ball down to that could win a game or be a part of winning the game like you won the other night against Dallas without half your damn team.
He's getting better though.
Yeah,
he's getting better. He's Jared has shown me a lot this season. Jared has improved basically every offensive metric I've seen him. My knock was you can't throw the ball to Jared Allen and he can get a bucket. Well, he proved me wrong. He started shooting mid-range jumpers. I'm not gonna call him mid-range. I'm gonna call him elbow. I'm gonna call him elbow jumpers. I've seen him shoot baby hooks. I've seen him, just be more aggressive with Evan Mobley out. The pluses would be also we've been saying he's not a shot blocker. Man, the last couple months he's been blocking shots. So the pluses would be. See, that's tough because Jonas been blocking shots too. But all right, the pluses for Jared Allen. Probably get to the free throw. He gets to the free throw line more than Jonas does. The other thing would be you get your rim running lob threat, which this team has seemed to want for the last 5 years.
Yep.
Defensively, of course, he's more mobile than Jonas. And I would say right now he's probably rebounding better than Jonas too.
Okay. So, what are some of the negatives?
The negatives. The perimeter gravity is lost. He's not he is not going to shoot a 3-pointer. Like he is not
Yeah.
going to. He's not going to do that. I would say the other thing that I've seen from him, and this is what happens when you get more usage with guys. He's been very turnover prone. I've seen, 4 or 5 turnover games from him this I want to say November, in the November on. So I would say turnovers and lack of perimeter spacing.
Yeah. One of the things I think about with Jared Allen is I think about last year in the playoffs, where teams just attacked Cleveland differently, so much to where they dared Cleveland to keep Jared Allen on the floor, and they just did their best to attack drop coverage. And I believe it was against the Knicks. It was
Yep.
really, Jalen Brunson kind of ate that coverage alive, and that's what you wonder about with Jared, which kind of puts you in a similar boat that you were already in with Jonas, right? So is he a playoff center? Is he, an answer against really good teams? I don't know, but it does beg the question. The next guy is Wendell Carter. Lito, who weighs more, Jared Allen or Wendell Carter?
Wendell Carter.
Yeah, 270 pounds.
Yeah.
270 pounds. Um, Now Wendell
Can I call
is
him? Can I call him Wendell? It made me
sure,
feel better. All right, go ahead.
sure. You call him WCJ if you like.
Nah.
So while I think he's solid across the board, like Christian alluded to. Can do a little bit of everything. I think he can be a rim deterrent. He's more athletic, of course, than Jonas. Can block some shots every now and then, even though I wouldn't call him a shot blocker. Can score in pinches. I think's a really good rebounder. Um, I'd give Jonas the ultimate edge there, but I don't think Wendell I would say at worst Wendell's a good rebounder in my estimate. When he's playing a healthy amount of minutes, I think per 36 there wouldn't have been any year that he's been in the league where he wasn't on track to average over 10 rebounds a game. So solid there. But for the sake of this conversation, also a solid free throw shooter. All these guys are solid free throw shooters. I don't know about Okongwu. I had to go check, but all these guys are solid free throw shooters. Both are all around 75, 76%. Great for a team that doesn't hit free throws late in games. But for the sake of this conversation, we're talking about with Wendell Carter. The greatest thing or the best thing he may give this team is a higher volume of 3-point shooting from that position. He's shooting close to three pointers a game and is shooting them right now currently over 40%. It's still not a crazy volume to say, it's gonna change the world, but it's a little bit it's more than what you're used to, and maybe could come in handy. When you think about Wendell Carter, when you think about a floor spacing big, period, do you see him as that kind of guy? Or do you think it has to be someone with a higher volume to really open up the floor a little bit more for Zion and Brandon?
Nah, like it don't necessarily have to be a higher volume because I feel like the Pelicans don't necessarily want points from the center position. I'm saying that they're saying that you get points from your center. That is less land. Yeah, that's a premium. That's not. It's not a need
Yeah,
because there's so many other places I can go to get a bucket
yeah.
on a team. So I would say I think Wendell would probably be a decent. I don't know what the hell that was.
Happy birthday, Lito.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
I think he would be a decent fit. I know you said he was a good rebounder. His and this is per the his some of his games, and it could be minutes related. It had me a little cautious. Um, I've seen Jordan Hawkins rebound better than him in some games with less minutes, so it made me a little bit leery there. Um, but again, if we're changing players, then you got to change mantras and mindsets. So rebounding should be a team effort anyway, and you can't just rely on this one guy to do it because you see even with JV, who's a very good rebounder, like he's still not a good rebounder team.
Yeah, I mean, let's say, and even if, and forgive me for window if there are any Wendell, as Lito would like to be said, Carter fans that know that have watched more Magic games than I've watched maybe five or 10, and I'm really looking. I'm basing this off of stats and analytics as of right now. I know Jonas per every all the data that I have is a better overall rebound. And I would say Wendell, let's say even if we knock the metric down and say he's above average to good, or he's average to above average, it
Mm.
shouldn't be that large of a drop off. Like you said, even with Jonas, the Pelicans aren't that great of a rebounding team consistently night to night. Um, I mean that's a fair argument. Um, so here's what I think about, because I I think about, and I'm with you about the floor spacer. Like that will be my pick as well. I'm a I believe that I've been saying this at the beginning of the year. The number one goal for me should have been, once you decide you were going to run it back, to figure out how to acquire and how to formulate the best way to maximize Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram together. And the best way that you can possibly do that is to spacing up the floor and allow them more room to operate, whether it's together using each other or whether they're doing it as solo acts. But to me, that's the way that you do it, right? You have to make teams at least care about respecting the shooters that are out there. You're gonna have nights where you miss shots, so on and so forth, but it's the respect factor that's there. And adding a guy like Wendell Carter could help that. And I think it's interesting. These are both like archetypes, Lito, that the Pelicans haven't had in the Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram era. When we talk about rim protecting center, who's the best guy you can think of?
In
Since,
the era,
yeah, in the Brandon and Zion era, who's the
rim
best center you can
protector,
think of? Who would you say?
Steve,
Maybe Derek Favors,
man.
who his
Oh
back went
yeah,
out.
yeah. Derek Favors, yeah,
Maybe,
Favors.
yeah. I mean, who's the best floor spacing big you can think of?
Jonas.
Nicola Melli.
Nah,
Nah, nah, nah,
nah,
nah, nah. You not.
nah, nah. I gotta see the numbers, but I don't think he was better than Jonas. I think
I,
Jonas provide. I
but
think Jonas made more threes than him.
but I mean, I'm saying that's how bad it's been.
No, I absolutely agree with you.
That's how bad it's been that the team hasn't had one particular guy to throw out that specializes at either of those things. Like, and I just did a show about what would a rim protector do for Herb Jones, because it's like, what would it look like if Herb didn't have to constantly worry about his man that was driving past him, and he could rotate in a different area because he knew that his center was going to clean that shit up off the glass regardless and was going to deter it back to him. You know what I'm
Man,
saying? What would
man,
rotations look like defensively if guys didn't have to worry about,
man.
what was happening at the rim?
Listen, it will clean up, bro. It's like Dion going to the 49ers and Merton Hanks being back there to cover up the you know what I'm saying? Like you already can't beat Dion 1-on-1, but you got a good safety. What?
You gotta do the dance. You ain't got a football in your room. You're not gonna do the Merton Hanks dance.
Man, that's in my baby room. Yo,
Shout out
that's
to Merton
crazy.
Hanks, man.
Shout out to Merton, man. But like, Chris McAllister, Ed Reed, you know what I'm saying? Like you got guys who are Herb is already elite at what he does. Now, if you're gonna give him weak side help, so there's no way that once I leave this man or once I switch that I gotta worry about anything behind me and I can suffocate everything on the perimeter. Man, that's Herb might average 3 steals a game.
You know what it's like? It's like going through security like when you're at the airport, and then you gotta go, and then after you go through like the metal detector, you gotta see the final boss in TSA.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, like that's what I those are the things that I think about. I think about the transition opportunities that you get if you have somebody who's creating, you know, just intimidating and you know, force defensively at the rim to deter guys to where, you know, the ball has to move around. When you think about all the length and the wingspan that the Pelicans have, and the way some of the individuals have gotten better in the passing lanes, you think about how Brandon's gotten better. Think about what Zion can do when he's motivated. CJ's very good, I think, in space. He doesn't get enough credit for what he can do. We know Dyson Daniels is a deflection king. We know Herb Jones is his own defense. Larry Nance I don't know if I said that already, but you know, like those are the type of options that you have. If you had a rim protector, what would it look like? We don't know because we haven't seen it. But you can make the same argument if you flip it and talk about a floor spacer.
Mm.
It's hard to really talk about it because we haven't seen it.
Mm. I agree with you. I mean, I like one or the other. And look, again, I hate to lose Jonas, but you know, it's inevitable. He's 31, 32 years old. You are going to extend his contract another 2 years. He's going to be 34, 35. Like, then what? You know, like then what? At some point, you gotta have a contingency plan to start preparing for the next phase of this thing. How Marvel rolls shit out in phases, like you gotta do that shit basketball wise because you know at some point, I don't know. I'm just throwing some shit out there. Maybe you decide you know, on year 3 or 4 of Zion's contract, I don't like this fit anymore. Maybe I want to move him, or maybe, you know, Brandon's deal is coming up. Maybe I don't want to pay Brandon. Maybe I want to go all the other routes. Like you have to have contingency plans for players in place just to move on to the next era of whatever that thing is. And I'm not saying that the Pelicans are going to move either one of those guys. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. That's why, you know, if you know, I feel like Wendell Carter is more of a David Griffin kind of move than Jared Allen
Yeah.
because like Jared Allen to me is more of a bigger name and it's more of a win now. Like you see what he's doing in Cleveland with Cleveland right now. It's more of a you're going for it type of thing. Even if I don't think with this team, it's you know it moves the needle that much with how clogged things kind of are already. Even if it gives you, I do think that Jared Allen offers you some new things that you wouldn't get with Jonas, even if it strips away some of the creativity, the post creativity. Um, but I don't know if it moves the needle that much in regards to a win now. It's not like getting like Laurie Markkinen, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like Jared Allen can't be like the all in move. But Wendell Carter gives you current and future flexibility, and he's still a young guy who um probably still has his best basketball ahead of him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um and the the improvement that we're seeing in his 3-point volume and his 3-point shooting overall may increase. And who knows what that could look like for New Orleans. If I'm correct, another Duke guy, right? another Duke guy. So yeah, man. You know, I'm really curious what that looks like. But speaking of curious, we got to get a word from my people that hope you signed up already, and they're curious about what your next bet is going to be.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BOOT. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expired 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms.
Lito,
Would add
Who do you think the players would what type of big do you think the players would rather have? Like when they're out there hooping and they're thinking about future upgrades and future players, you know they do. Um, who do you think Brandon or Zion would rather have? Do you think it's the same? Do you think it's different?
I think they would rather have a rim running floor spacer.
Hmm. What the hell is that?
I don't know. I don't know. To be honest,
They wanted so they wanted what they hoped Jackson Hayes would turn into.
yeah, but yes. But
Is
that
this
was
all Jackson Hayes' fault?
no, it's the Pelicans' fault.
Hmm.
It's the Pelicans' fault for
Hmm.
believing that Jackson Hayes could become some sort of unicorn that he never really showed you that he was. Like even in college, like he played sparingly and he wasn't great. He didn't have a lot of the basketball acumen that you would hope a lottery pick would have. He hadn't played enough basketball and he was just so raw. And his IQ of the game was limited because again, he was so played so very little basketball. I'm trying to think of a lot of a rim running 3-point. I guess Miles Turner would be that.
Jared Jackson Jr.
Jaron Jackson Jr. He shoot like he got a backpack on though. That's the only.
They showed a there was a woman. Um she was cold too. She was shooting the shit out the ball. I forgot who it was. And then somebody say, this is why they say Jared Jackson Jr. shoots like a woman.
Bro, it's such a terrible shot. I gotta say this too. I had to put some respect on Jaren's name because I ain't see it. I ain't gonna lie.
He can hoop, bro. He can hoop, and he doesn't look as physically imposing at the rim, or even as athletic as he actually is
He
into the last
blocked.
moment.
He blocked everything.
Yeah,
He blocked everything, man. He Zion caught a body on him, but just the fact that he even was willing to take the risk, like I respected it. You know what I'm saying? Like
they just don't like. I know everybody like Brooke Lopez. Like remember, like Brooke Lopez had to grow into the floor space and rim protector that he was, and it took him into his 30s to really get there.
he don't get the credit for that either because he's a multi-time All-Star, All NBA player who got his bread and butter playing on the block, transformed his whole game. You know what I'm saying? Transformed his whole game into a 3-point shooter in his mid to late 30s, and
And
still
with
effective.
and somehow, Lito, he's one of those centers similar to Jonas. He's not very mobile. He's not very athletic, but somehow is able to move really well in space and protect the rim, even when a dude his size shouldn't be able to get there. He's not overly athletic. We're not talking about doesn't have the athleticism that a Jaren Jackson Jr. has, for example, as you just mentioned. But somehow, man, like you mentioned, he transformed his entire game. And I would say most teams that they were building, if you were asking them outside of, unless you told them they were getting a Jokic or they were getting an Embiid, they would say, I want a Brook Lopez type of guy. You know how most people they're building a small forward, they want Paul George. I think Brook Lopez is that guy now at the center position.
So I don't know if this guy can play center, but you got two guys in Minnesota in the Timberwolves who have on this particular season, Carl Anthony Towns has made 93 threes. Nas Reed has made 85.
Whew.
Like these are bigs.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. I don't know if I'd love to have like Carl Anthony Towns space the floor for us. You know what I'm saying? I think people while we take him as a joke, I think people really forget how good dude is. Like he a bad motherfucker.
But then he has moments like tonight where he scores 62 and he's benched at the end of the game.
But who fault that is?
According to the people that watched the game, according it was his.
Dog, once I score 62, what else I'm supposed to do?
They
Y'all
wanted
can't.
him to defend.
I mean, I understand that. There's also other center options. Isaiah Stewart.
Would probably fit the floor spacing guy who can, he can he's a little bit undersized,
47 made threes.
but he can shoot the ball. We know their level of intensity he brings. I think I don't think he's having that great of a year, but I don't know how much I can judge any individual talent on that
It's
team
tough.
right now that's playing as bad as they are. But I think Stewart's a dude that I would take a flyer on. I just don't know, is he your center? Like
I
we
mean,
don't know what kind of center, and this is partially the Pelicans' fault. Because one of the things that they should have been doing, they should have been experimenting with these types already so they know how they fit around these guys. We don't know what it looks like for them. We don't know what it looks like for a ball, a dude think he got a clear layup and a center is running like a deer in headlights and knocking it off the glass to Zion. He's running in transition. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know what it looks like for a center to be at the top of the key 27 feet away from the rim and the center having to at least kind of respect it versus standing at the free throw line when Jonas shoots them.
a day late and a dollar short.
Yeah, I mean, even a Mo, your guy Wagner, even a Mo Wagner. I'm not sure if Orlando would trade him right now, but at some point we got to see what that looks like, man. It gotta be a different form of what it was supposed to be in Nicola Melli but hell, even Zion and Nicola Melli lineups worked for a small
That they
period of
did.
time.
Yeah, they did. They did. 42. I mean, 22 made threes for Morris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking it's tough because we don't have the data to support what a high volume of either of these kind of prototypes or archetypes would look like to support. Okay, you know what I'm saying? This is what it would do for the Pelicans.
He's made 4 threes in a game a couple times this year.
Who?
Mo.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I listen. He's another guy that I think would fit because if you got to pick a side, and here's what I was told. Here's what you told me. You told me that Willie Green's strength, his best strength, is his ability to get guys to buy in defensively, specifically into team defense for to turn average to below average defenders just good enough for the team not to be bad, and more time than not for the team to rank top 10, top 15 in overall defense. So if that's the case, you already put a good majority of responsibilities on Herb Jones. What's one more?
Biden is critical. Biden is critical. I want to say this thing, and I'm half joking, and I'm really half not. Al Horford has made 59 threes. He's a positive 238 on the season.
Bro, he's
Like,
so good. He's so good. He's so good. And he probably shouldn't even be playing as much as he's playing right now. Porzingis has had his regular injury struggles every now and then, but he was playing. Porzingis plays really well when he plays as well. But Al Horford's so good, bro.
dog,
Every
like,
year.
when the fuck is he gonna fall off? I keep waiting on the. I'm seeing Al block shit at the rim. Like, Al is he not
He was
Florida Al, but
he was almost a Pelican.
he should have been, dog.
Do you remember that?
No.
So you don't so the Pelicans, I believe, were going after him before he signed with Philly. Do you remember the
Oh,
the
okay.
one
Yeah,
year he
yeah,
was in
yeah, yeah,
Philly?
yeah.
That year. It didn't he ended up going to Philly, and then the Pelicans got JJ.
Man, Al is Al one of them guys you need him to win. Like, you talk about a culture setter, you talk about somebody who like sets the tone. Like, not Udonis Haslem, like a guy who can actually play.
Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Dog. He is Florida, bro. He is Florida.
No
he
doubt.
is Florida. He's the real Big U.
Hell
I'm
no.
sorry. Yeah, man. I know it's a few like Crip watchers that's pissed off at me right
Hell no. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, dog. Like, come on, man. You telling me Udonis ain't deserve? You telling me UD ain't deserve to get his jersey retired?
He didn't.
Wow. Okay. All right. Look. He was at 20 years.
Absolutely.
He took less money multiple times.
Whose fault was that?
He took less money in the prime of his career for LeBron James.
No doubt.
Wade.
Chris.
Dallas was about to give UD a bag, Lito.
Okay.
Multiple champion with cornrows and without them.
You know what people get from when they at their job multiple years? They get a pin. They get like
no, they don't. When they there 40 years, they get a Rolex. This is Rolex.
That man don't deserve. Man, take that jersey down, man.
He don't deserve to get his jersey retired.
No,
if
man.
Udonis don't deserve to get his jersey retired, no one does.
Lies. Dwayne Wade deserves to get his jersey retired.
No, the difference. Dwayne Wade deserves a statue.
Okay. Did Nick Collison get his jersey retired?
Fuck no. Are you comparing Udonis Haslem to Nick Collison?
I'm saying he was there 20 years. Not really, but he was there at least 15 of them.
Nobody cares about Nick Collison, respectfully. No one cares. No one's talking about it. If Nick Collison had a podcast, you wouldn't listen to it.
Who's the better player?
Udonis Haslem.
Hold on, I'm about to see.
UD. Champion. Nick Collison got rings?
Nick Collison, hold on. See, because this is why I hate this championship talk.
Udonis Haslem taught James Johnson how to fight. He's the only person that beat James Johnson in a fight.
I do not believe that he beat James Johnson in a fight.
Okay, all right, so maybe he didn't, but it sounded good. If I say that with enough conviction, you believe it.
Listen, Udonis Haslem did nothing to win any of those rings. So when you put you pinning these rings on Udonis Haslem is crazy.
That's crazy. He is Miami's Dennis Rodman.
He not no fucking no. Stop it. You wildin'. Stop it.
What?
Dennis Rodman?
Do you remember Kenneth Fareed?
I do remember the Manimal.
Kenneth Fareed dreamed he could have a career as long as Udonis Haslem.
He was better than him.
Why he ain't last as long?
Because they hated on that man. Because he didn't get into a program like the Heat. Because Kenneth Fareed still hooping right now.
So you said it's the program?
Yeah, man. Like he got into the Miami Mafia. You know what I'm saying? Like they look out for family.
Some might say there was not a Miami Mafia until he arrived.
So he did that. That's what you're saying. I see Udonis. When Udonis arrived, he was fat. I remember him at Florida. No. He wasn't good enough to do this.
I'm just saying, brother. I'm just saying, brother, when they win. Huh?
So Alonzo Mourning ain't created this. That's what we at. This is what you're telling me.
Create what?
The culture of the Miami Heat. Alonzo Mourning. I mean,
there was too much. He may have been a part of it. I mean, he helped establish it. It was very important. But remember, Alonzo left. He went to New Jersey.
Yeah, because he was
Toronto.
Hey, Chris, he was good. He was good. He had options. Like teams wanted him.
Hey, and then he came back. But you know who never left? You know who never left?
Yeah.
Udonis Haslem.
Hey,
I'm telling you, if there's a Mount Rushmore, listen to me. If there's a Mount Rushmore of Miami,
yeah,
it's Uncle Luke.
Don't do this.
Rick Ross.
Don't do this.
Trick Daddy. And Udonis Haslem.
No. Trina's on Mount Rushmore. Trina gave way more to the game than Udonis Haslam did. Way more.
She didn't last 20 years.
She didn't need 20 years to make that kind of impact. She didn't need 20 years. She needed a couple summers. I remember the album cover. Hey, listen, check this out. You know, people say, man, I made it out the hood and I did this, and you know what I'm saying, I'm never going back. And sometimes you get people like UD who just can't leave the hood because they wasn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't.
Udonis Haslam deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
All right, man.
Look, man, that's the show. I appreciate y'all as always, man. Y'all let us know in the comments, what do you think the Pelicans should target? Should it be a rim protector? Should it be a floor spacing big? What's more important? What benefits the stars in this team is currently constructed more? Give me some names. Who you like, who you don't like. You know, what's the finishing piece? One way or another. Y'all let us know in these comments. Run it up. We tried to get Coach Mike Cyprian, but he had a really important phone call to take, which could be a part of his continuing progression as a scout, as a coach, as a leader, as an evaluator. So shout out to Coach. Y'all heard from DraftKings already. I ain't did this in a while. Hear from Najee, and then we out.
In the building. I told you last time, get with us. Well, get out of here, man.
Shout out to Najee Marshall, the Udonis Haslam of the New Orleans Pelicans. Peace out.